I disagreed with their draft. I disagreed with the first round pick primarily, that being Michael Penix. Here's the thing, and you can tell what teams have direction, and you can tell which teams don't have direction. I actually think you used the word directionless, 25 minutes ago? The Penix pick felt directionless, right? What's a team that had direction? How about the Joe Alt pick, right? The Chargers. Harbaugh loves a strong run game, good offensive line. They're going to protect Herbert. They're going to run the ball. It's going to be a lot of play action. They're going to make sure that they control the line of scrimmage like Harbaugh's done since, forever? He probably coached his sons in youth football, and they've always said, hey, let's win the line of scrimmage, right? It's always been a focus, and it always will be for Jim Harbaugh. That's a mindful pick that has direction. And for the Falcons, taking Michael Penix, who is an NFL-ready, probably the best pure passer in the draft from the pocket, especially down the field to the intermediate to deep stuff, probably the best passer in the draft. And you take him at 8, injury concerns, and he's 24 and a half, 24 and a third or something like that. So he's an older quarterback for somebody that most likely will have to sit behind Kirk Cousins, who you just gave $180 million, 100 of it guaranteed over the first 2 years to, right? So that's a problem. And here's the main problem is that they said they signed Kirk Cousins like 47 days ago. 50-something days ago, you knew where you were going to be picking. You knew what quarterbacks were coming out in the draft. You knew how much salary cap money you had. So you knew you know exactly what you have and what you need going into the offseason. It's all lined up right there for you. And so at that point, you formulate a plan. What's our identity? What's our goal? What's the direction of this franchise? And how do we get there this offseason? How do we take steps towards it? Again, we'll go back to the Chargers. Hey, boom, we fired our coach. This is what we need to do for the season. Let's start by getting Harbaugh. Okay, what does Harbaugh do? Lines of scrimmage. Right? What does Harbaugh want to do? Get younger, get cheaper, and get better where it matters most as opposed to injury-riddled wide receivers that he got rid of, right? Protect Herbert. They've done all those things in succession, and they have great direction. So the Falcons look at all of these assets, right? The salary cap money, it was like 80-something million, right? The salary cap money, the slot that they're going to be picking at. Hey, what are our prospects? What are our team needs? And they said, well, okay, obviously quarterback is a team need. And drafting at 8, you have a pretty good chance to get a quarterback. Even in a quarterback top 3 to 5 heavy draft, you'll still be able to get a quarterback at 8. Okay? So direction number 1 is we take our salary cap money and we go get a bunch of good players, right? Good B+ to A- players, some of them veterans, maybe some a little bit younger, some we gave a second chance to, whatever, right? You go spend that money and make your roster pretty good, well-rounded. And then you draft a quarterback at 8. Penix would be good for that, actually, although I think it'd be an overdraft. He'd be good because he's NFL ready, much like a Brock Purdy, but I think he's a better, more talented player, a better prospect than Purdy. Okay, so route number 1, let's go spend a bunch of money in free agency and then draft the young kid. He'll come in, he'll start, especially if you like Penix at that point. You know he's going to be available at 8. Let's go get Penix. He's NFL ready. Let's go the whole rookie contract, stacked roster thing like we've seen the Niners do. Philadelphia did it, and it was even better because Hurts was a second-round quarterback contract. Okay, fine. Let's go with that route. That's good. Or option number 2 was let's go get top-of-the-market quarterback free agent. And that would be Kirk Cousins. He was probably the best free agent available, and you had to pay a pretty good price for him. Okay, so if that's your option, then what would you do with the number 8 pick? Well, that'd be a very win-now option because Kirk Cousins is 36 coming off an Achilles. You're giving him 2 years of hard guaranteed money, and then a couple years on the back end that are less guaranteed and more you can get out of that, right? So 2 years of stiff guarantees. So it's a win-now move, and he's, again, 36. And so you would say, okay, then at the number 8 slot, you go get a high-impact player that can come in and help you right now and help Kirk Cousins be good and justify that investment financially for that player. Instead, they did neither. They took option number 3, which was we're going to go spend $100 million on a quarterback that's coming off a torn Achilles. And I like Kirk. I defended the move. I think it's a good move. I like Kirk. But we're going to go spend $100 million on a quarterback who's aging, coming off an Achilles injury, which we know that those are not easy to come back from. It doesn't matter how mobile he once was. He's not going to be the same in terms of mobility and push off that back leg. So we're going to go spend $100 million on Kirk, and we're going to draft his 24-year-old replacement that he's not going to start for another 2 years. So in 3 years, he's going to start. 2.5 years, he's going to start. He's going to be almost 27 by the time he starts. That's Brandon Weeden, right? Like, I would understand it if like Drake May fell to you and you're like, okay, well Drake May needs at least a year to sit. I'd prefer. That's why I like Drake May as a prospect. We'll get to that later. Don't know how I feel about him in New England now because he has to start day one, and that's a horrendous roster. If it was Drake May, I'd be like, okay, good. Yeah, Drake can go sit. He can learn. You can kind of sandpaper him around the edges. Kirk's a great guy to learn from, and Drake's not good enough yet to where it's a real issue that he'll overthrow Kirk at least in year number one. You took the most NFL-ready quarterback of the bunch. Like what? So now you don't get the benefit of the rookie contract. You don't get the benefit of having a quarterback and having a high-impact number 8 overall selection. You could have went out and got the best edge rusher. Rome Odunze was still on the board. You had plenty of options. So now you're stuck in the middle. And if I'm, yes, Kirk. If I'm Kirk, I would be pissed. If I'm Michael Penix, I would be pissed. Michael Penix is ready to play and ready to win now. And now he's going to have to go sit for at least a year? At bare minimum a year, probably 2. If I'm Penix, I'm pissed. If I'm Kirk, I'm pissed. If I'm the Falcons fan base, I'm pissed. You had 2 options, both of which I would have understood. You tried to thread the needle between the two, and you're not going to get any of the benefits of either by trying to thread the needle.